This manager I'm working with directly he's pretty fired up. He's frustrated. You made me look bad. And he's going to kind of go on the attack to the CFO for what he did.
Here's a little bit of tactical discussion here. What do I do? What do I say? What do I say? Do I get defensive? Do you do that? Or do you open your mind up? What I'm doing is I'm winning. Dave, let's debrief. What do you got? Check.
So here's the situation. Working with a company, I'm talking to a sales manager. This sales manager had built and briefed a plan to his boss, the CFO, who he's working for. And he thought he was all good to go. So he briefs the CFO. About 3 or 4 days later, he brings his entire team in on a Zoom call. CFO's there. He starts briefing as part of this meeting. And the CFO says, hey, this plan isn't going to work. So the feedback from him is it goes, hey, he did this in front of my whole team after he helped me build and sign off on the plan. Totally caught this guy off guard. And up until now, the CFO seemed fine with the plan. And now he's against it at the last minute. And he did it in front of his whole team. So as you might guess, this manager I'm working with directly he's pretty fired up. He's frustrated. He's mad at the CFO. And, I understand where he's coming from. And his question is, how do I fix this or how do I solve this? He made me look bad. And he kind of backstabbed me because he said he was good with the plan. And probably wasn't the most satisfying answer that he got from me, which is, hey, this isn't about the CFO. This is about you. And so how do you solve this? Well, the first thing you got to do is figure out how to take ownership of this. And you also have to protect your team. And I want to talk about that for just a minute. I think the first question to ask is, hey, if the CFO doesn't like your plan, this plan that you briefed, if he's got a problem with it, how do you recognize that this is actually your fault? And if your ego's getting out of control and you're frustrated and you're pissed off and you're blaming the CFO, it's going to be almost impossible to do that. So we talked a little bit about the CFO. Hey, what does a CFO want for the company? What are his goals? What are his objectives? What does he really want? And CFO wants us to make money. He wants us to do well. He wants the team to be successful. He wants sales to go up. He wants revenue to increase. The CFO actually wants us to win. He does. And who does the CFO answer to? He works directly for the CEO. He works directly for the person, in this case, that is in charge. Any idea what the CEO wants? He wants all those same things. He wants us to be successful. So inside of that recognition, as frustrated as you are, so how do we win here? How can he protect his team, take care of his team, and be successful? And so how do we get to that? How do we get to what's best? And the path he was heading down was he's mad at the CFO, so his reaction is he's going to push back. You made me look bad. And he's going to kind of go on the attack to the CFO for what he did. And what's going to happen if I go on the attack, if you're my boss and you say, hey, I don't like your plan anymore, and then I push back against you, what's probably going to end up happening is you and I are going to go to war. You and I are going to fight. And the outcome of that, however long it takes, is very likely that you are going to win. Because I'm one of 6 sales managers and you're the CFO. So I can go to war all day long and give you all the reasons why I was right and you were wrong and remind you that you backstabbed me. Or I can take a step back and go, all right, hang on. The 3 or 4 days from the time that I briefed you to the time that we did this thing, what happened? You went and talked to the boss. Did I come back and follow up with you? Did I prep the meeting? Did I ask if there's any changes? Did I ask if you have any additional inputs? Did I do a whole bunch of things I could have done to make sure that we were still aligned? And did I really understand the strategic picture? And so if you take the approach of, hang on a second, CFO's got some valid reasons. There must be something going on that I missed, some real reason that the CFO is driving this. And if I can take a step back and get to understand the bigger picture, what I'm going to get is, rather than a war with you, what I'm going to get, assuming I actually have a good relationship, which he does, I'm going to get a compromise. And then we can start to get to a solution that over time, done incrementally, we actually get to where we need to be. And this was less about exactly what the right solution was. Hey, it has to be this at this interval at this time. The answer was, how do I get to a place where I can take care of my team and take care of the company? And I don't do that by being mad at you for cutting me off and changing the plan at the last minute. I get that by saying, all right, I missed something. I didn't understand the strategic picture. Hey, boss, how can I better understand what you need? And how does this plan look for you so I can start to move forward to get what we want so we can all be successful, so we can get to that compromise?
I just wrote down, my first note was, but Dave. Because we get to hear that all the time. But Jocko, yeah. But Jocko, but Dave, but Jay. Well, as soon as you say, hey, listen, you need to take ownership of this. Your CFO, they did what they did, but you need to take ownership. And they're like, but Dave, the guy undermined me in front of everyone. I already gave him the brief. But Dave, he already signed off on it. But Dave, he helped me put it together. But Dave, this was in front of all my people. There's just but Dave, but Dave, but Dave, but Dave. That's what it is all day long.
It's like you were there.
So this idea of hey, the resistance to taking ownership is to say, I get it, Dave. I'm supposed to take ownership, blah, blah, blah. But Dave, here's the real deal. So the buts don't work. They don't work. The only thing you can do is take ownership of what's happening and make adjustments. And that's when you do what you talked about. Here's a little bit of tactical discussion here. What do you do? What do you do when Jocko, the sales leader, is talking to my team and Dave, the CFO, is on the call, and I already went over the plan with Dave, and he approved the plan, helped me come up with a plan, and then I'm on the call talking to my team, and Dave cuts me off and says, hey, actually, Jocko, this plan isn't going to work. What do I do? What do I say? What do I say? Do I get defensive? Do I say, but Dave, we already discussed this? Do I say, but Dave, I already showed you? Do you do that? And do you get defensive? Or do you open your mind up? And do you say, hey, Dave, I think there's probably some perspective that you've seen since we last talked. You know what? Why don't we just call this meeting for now? I'm going to come down. I'm going to get on a call with you, and let me understand your perspective so we can get unified on this. Because you know what? My team, we're flexible. We're here to win. So if you got some insight, I'm ready to incorporate it into the plan. Now, does the team think, oh, Jocko just folded like a little baby? No, they don't think that. As a matter of fact, when Jocko says, you know what, Dave, you and I already discussed this. If I'm a team member, I'm like, Jocko, shut up. That's the boss. Man, don't form an antagonistic relationship with the boss. Freaking play the game and get us some wins over here before we're coming into work 7 days a week at 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. We don't want to do that. We want to work from home. Go build a relationship, Jocko. So when I say, hey, Dave, there's probably some things have come up in the last few days. You know what? We'll make no adjustments to the plan right now. Let's you and I get on a call. Let me learn what you learned, and let's come up with an alternative plan. And you go, hey, sounds good, Jocko. And then we sit down and we come up with an alternative plan. Humility is a respected trait. It is a respected trait. It's not a disrespected trait. When you get defensive and you're scared and you are protecting your ego, people can see that. And that's what it looks like, and that's what it smells like. So don't let that happen.
Yeah, I think people get in this idea of like protecting my team means drawing a line in the sand and not tolerating anybody encroaching over that line, when the exact opposite is true. When you described is, hey, if I push back hard enough, if I actually push back too hard, guess what's going to happen to me? Dave's not going to be the sales manager anymore.
Sometimes when I go down these types of discussions and I start saying, well, I'm going to say like, hey, Dave, you see something that I don't see. Dave, obviously you see something that I don't see. I'll come to your office and get on a knee and I'll receive your new ultimate plan. And people are thinking, so what you're saying, Jocko, is go kiss ass.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying go kiss ass. First of all, I have a relationship with my boss. So they actually do listen to me. Why do they listen to me? Because I listen to them. So I'm not kissing ass. What I'm doing is I'm winning. Because the best thing that you can do to protect your team is have an awesome relationship with your boss.
Yep.
That's the best way you can, quote, protect your team. That's the best way you can take care of your team, is you have an awesome relationship with your boss. So make that your priority. That actually trumps the little work from home plan. So there you go. Now, I got asked this question the other day. I was talking to a client, and the question was something along the lines of, and I really liked this. Something along the lines of, but hey, Jocko, sometimes don't you have to advocate for yourself?